Welcome to our extension assessment. Thank you for joining us as we are going to work through establishing office harmony within an extension office. So first, let's take a look at the team. So within this organizational chart, you will see there are a lot of different hierarchies in place here. So we have you, the county extension director, and that relationship to the agent or the state side is more of a flat-hierarchy system in which there is a lot more autonomy within the program areas. They are over their own program area and they communicate those efforts back and forth to you. So there's not a lot of micromanagement needed or going on really in that structure. Next is going to be the relationship between you and the county side, so the business managers and the support staff. And that is more of a hierarchy scale. So they report directly to you and they work within the means of their job description, or they should work within the means of their job description. So this unique structure with all of these different hierarchies in place can really cause a little bit of confusion, especially what we see here is going to be in the division of labor and responsibilities and the communication barriers that have arisen due to that, and some of the conflicts and concerns and maybe a little bit of underlying animosity there. So the current issue that we have identified and going to address is that there is a passive management leadership style that you have that is causing an uneven workload distribution due to unclear expectations and the management of employee performances. And that's really just our generalization there. So to get more specific, some things that have been identified is that there are passive aggressive comments made, maybe to one gender or one program area over another, and it may be that management style to insinuate the change you would like to see, but because it's not direct and assertive, that is not coming across effectively. Next is that activities that really require teamwork are not being delegated or deviated amongst the group effectively. So a lot of that is falling on a lot of your overachievers who are going to do an effective job at time management and are going to do a great job at executing these things, but they don't really need a lot of trivial work that could be delegated and given to maybe the underachievers or somebody who's not quite such the heavy load. The majority of the agents in the office have expressed that this is an issue, and the majority of the county staff as well, even some with 20+ years of experience, are really seeing that this passive leadership style is not effective with the current group of individuals, of employees on the county and on the state side. Performance evaluations are not clearly defined as far as the quality and effort that's put in to the work across genders and across program areas. So again, there's a lot of confusion there. This is causing a lot of communication barriers and a lot of animosity underlying amongst the group. So let's move on and really view this to provide some insight through the situation and through this issue. What we're going to do is view it with different frames or different lenses. So think of it as a camera or a microscope. And really it's just a way for us to dig into this issue and see it in multiple perspectives and determine which strategies are going to be the best to utilize in the situation and which frames are really feeding that underlying issue. So when we do that, we look at the spread here, and from left to right, we've identified that the human resource frame is one that has shown up the most. Then we go on to symbolic, and then political and structural were fairly even in assessing the organization. So we had to ask a couple questions as far as, is individual commitment and motivation key to this organization's success? And it absolutely is. So that ties to the human resource and symbolic. Is there a high level of ambiguity and uncertainty? Absolutely. That is really where a lot of the problem hinges is that they're not understanding who's responsible for what and maybe why that accountability is not there for those that are lacking, and that responsibility is being placed on those that are already overburdened. Are we going to work from the bottom up? Yes, we are, because we are going to see if maybe just a tweak in management, implementing more assertive and direct strategies can help the team regain faith in your leadership of dealing with conflict and dealing with any concerns that they may have and feel that have not already been addressed. So the reason why political and structural have kind of moved on down the line is because there's really not any technical quality of decision making, so it doesn't have to be a certain way. Program areas really have a lot of autonomy to do things in their own way there. And there's not a lot of resources are not scarce, and there's not a lot of conflict heavily right now amongst your agents. It's more kind of an underlying brewing thing. So we're hoping to address that with some of these strategies and really keep that out before it becomes a major problem. So this led us to go in this area. Now, when we go on to the end of this and talk about the structural frame, there's some basic things that we can look at as far as this image here is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we want to identify some things that you're doing really well at and that are getting back to the program, but also some things that we need to focus on. So areas that you're doing well is in these physiological needs and in safety needs. The environment is very safe. It is good for their productivity, so that's not an issue. They have employment, they have resources. Some places where we are lacking here is going to be on these upper tiers. So yes, the bottom two tiers are met, but they can be met in the majority of another organization. So we want to make sure that the employees are getting those upper level tiers met as well, so that they're not looking back down and evaluating, well, could I go somewhere else to get the bottom two tiers met more quickly and be able to advance up in the others by not getting that service here. So we want to make sure that we work on instilling that sense of connection, respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, really working those next two tiers and develop some strategies that can really build those up and give back to not only the team, but cause them to then give back in a positive feedback manner into the organization and really improve where y'all are now. So again, the issue is really we're at kind of an office divided. There are your overachievers that are feeling like they are being taken advantage of and that your underachievers are being underutilized. And then you have the underachievers that, due to the passive management style, they may not even grasp the concept that there is a problem. So again, we want to direct your efforts a little more in that assertive and direct management style. Just a couple of things there. So we're going to move on into here. It's broken out into the different frames and some strategies that we can utilize based on different focus areas. So the pluses are things you've done well. Minuses are just, again, taking into account some of the things within the interviews of the employees here. So in the human resource frame, communication, there's great collaboration amongst program areas. That passive leadership, that passive aggressive comments, those kind of things not working out well. There's also an oversharing of personal information, whether it be about one employee in front of another or something of that nature. There really needs to be more of a closed door conversation instead of in front of the entire group. Meetings are informal, which is good. That works well for the group. They appreciate that. But there is a lack of facilitation on how they need to share their feelings and share their concerns. And so that turns into an escalated discussion or argument, and then there is no communication on your behalf as the leader to really calm it down or break apart that conflict and find the underlying issue. And in decision making, I appreciate that there's a lot of autonomy in the program areas, so there's not a micromanager there. and that's fantastic, but there's a lack of facilitation when we talk about our day-to-day in the county office as far as that division of labor and responsibilities on office teamwork things such as events within the office. Maybe it's cleanup, maybe it's setup, just that day-to-day operation. There really needs to be more facilitation on your behalf on how to encourage them to make these decisions as a team where everyone is contributing and not just your one-sided overachievers, those that are going to do well regardless. We move on to the symbolic frame, and here you talk about reorganizing a bit. They're not seeing the underachievers being held accountable, the overachievers. They're not seeing a lot of accountability, I guess, across the board, would be the best way to put that. There's a lack of responsiveness to confrontation. So this is really going to cause a concern as they're sharing their concerns with you that is underlying with their values and the reason why they're here. So if they're not seeing that you are being responsive and holding people accountable, they are not feeling like they're being met there. And again, this can be resolved with some more assertive and direct management strategies. So we move on down to approaching conflict. Office traditions are upheld, and that's working out really well. There are some traditions, such as celebrating birthdays and that sort of thing, that are very effective at making that group very cohesive and a network of individuals, but also, again, the values are not being shared. So they're feeling maybe as if there are a lot of them from out of state, from other areas. There are things that they may hold to high regard that aren't being held to that regard here, maybe not being addressed. So we need to make sure that those are shared, especially in conflict management. On motivation, the personal celebrations again are a great thing that goes along with that tradition, but there are an office of incentives, especially on the county side. So you're lucky that you have loyal employees that have stayed with you over all these years, but they're not seeing raises based on their performance. They're not seeing any other incentives to continue to do well. So in order to keep good people, we need to make sure that we invest in those good people. So there could be some things that we can implement. Next is on the political side of things. Really want to go into goal setting, and there is a lack of follow-up on the personal concerns and the interest there. Again, this probably ties back to that passive management where it's not being addressed in a timely manner, and so they're not seeing again that responsiveness, that accountability, that follow-up. So that can lead into some of those values not being met and some of those needs not being met, and could be the underlying issue there. On the structural side of things, we have strategic planning. So the state plan in place is great, but there really needs to be an office strategy as far as delegation of tasks, delegation of labor, responsibility charting, something of that nature. For evaluating, again, state report is great for your agents, but that is really tailored to your county staff, and so their performance and them feeling that recognition is lacking there. Performance, again, is rarely addressed. So that was coming from also that state report. So that there's an annual report, but maybe the day-to-day is not being addressed quite as effectively as it should be. So what are some solutions that we can really dive into here? There's a 3-step minor solution, and within these steps, there are a couple of things that I would like to see happen. So we're going to base this off of that Kotter change strategy. So you're going to be the change agent here, and it's really going to help build that good faith with them, that they see that you are being responsive, that you are understanding their concerns, taking them into account, and you're going to find a way to serve those needs so that you can continue to move on up that hierarchy scale, feel empowered, feel respected, and give back to the organization. So First and foremost, nothing too different is that there will be a staff meeting, but you're going to have an intentional activity, not just something on the agenda, not just a bullet point. Next is going that you're going to record that office input through an interactive activity in that staff meeting. It's going to give you the feedback that you need in order to implement these strategies and to make these changes. And then third is going to be to create a personal accountability movement. And I say movement because it's not just about defining tasks that need to be done, but it's going to be a movement on your part and a movement on the team's part collectively, so that everyone is held accountable and everyone feels that sense of value and commitment to the organization and to the office structure. So, step by step. First, we want to invest in your people. You have great people, you need to invest in them. And this ties into the human resource frame. So, I want to create that transition plan. Again, that staff meeting. Request that 15 minutes of their time. Show this video. It's a great video that actually divvies out your achievers and your underachievers, and they can have the opportunity to identify themselves in that. What makes them that way, what makes them think that way. Share the current situation, let it be reflective as to how they feel that the office is ran now. And so the outcomes here is that you're going to be empowering them with their participation in this activity. You're going to give them ownership, not only of the current problem and maybe where they're lacking, but also in planning for that future solution, that future strategic plan. Next, you're going to build your image with a structural frame, and you're going to define your foundation. Do that political frame. Not that your foundation needs to completely be uprooted. We're just going to straighten that. So this will be a little difficult for a traditionalist because we're going to mourn the past a bit. We're going to recreate or create a vision through the strategic plan. But they're all going to have a part in this. So we're going to allow input verbally or written. This is that intentional activity, interactive activity we talked about. And they're going to tell you what they like. And then prepare yourself because the next thing they're going to do is to tell you what they dislike about current management, about the office, about whatever it may be. Let you air it out. Then they're going to collaborate all of this together and really make a strategy that will be kept and implemented over the span of time, and also evaluate it and to see, is it working, is it not, and where we need to go from there. So the outcomes here is that they're going to have that sense of connection to the organization and respect, which is going to move them up that tier on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, hopefully. That office responsibility chart is going to be established through this so that it will help streamline efforts in the execution of tasks. Take a little bit off your overachievers, make your underachievers step up a bit, and really get a sense of commitment to the organization. Your passive power techniques can be utilized here because you're allowing them to share their information with you, and it's also going to build good faith with you. Because you're holding people accountable, you're being responsive to their needs. Power is going to be gained through them because they are developing this vision, they are developing a strategic plan. Give some authorship and ownership of this change where you are not pushing it on them. So again, this helps you with your passive management style. So we have power in numbers, and this is going to go into our symbolic frame. So here you're going to celebrate the future by developing the shared values amongst everyone that you have collected in that last activity. So in this, you are going to communicate these change efforts. This is where your assertive and direct leadership has to shine through. So you're going to have that event responsibility chart that all the agents sign up for and have to be committed to, and you have to hold them accountable to. You're going to request proposals from each agent, identify their balanced work week and work-life balance. And if they have used the word request, grant those requests. Because again, this ties back to their values and the underlying values. And if they're going to be comfortable communicating that with you, they want to see that you are going to take that into consideration, address it, and be responsive to their needs. If it's something you can grant, by all means do that or test it out people productivity increases. Monthly revivals, this is going to be at the staff meetings. Celebrate what's working, change what's not working, or modify it a bit and test it out and see what works over the next 4 weeks. 3 recommendations from you need to be required quarterly. Okay? So this could be praises, this could be performance recommendations, maybe some changes that are needed to be made. So this is going to help in the validation of your overachievers so that they see that you recognize their efforts. This is also going to help your underachievers stay on task and maybe give them a direction. Again, this is that more direct, assertive style that is going to be needed for both types of employees to excel in this organization. So your outcomes here is going to really be that they're going to gain an autonomy in their scheduling. That's going to give them the respect and recognition that they need to have that sense of connection with you and with the organization. So what does this look like? What does our success look like over the full span of 6 months to 3 years here? So we're hoping that we're going to establish that office harmony and increase your productivity. In 6 months, you should definitely see assistance with tasks that help make constant reminders. Underperformers should be providing more programs, not just independently, but collaboratively, and then they will apply abstracts and awards, and again, it just really builds the reputation of the office and of that individual as well. In 12 months, you should see an increase on annual performance ratings. Either your high achievers should stay where they are if they're already at the max, or continue to excel. Your underachievers should most definitely gain another level on that performance rating. You will gain some rave reviews there. They should apply for team and independent awards. You should see a lot more of those coming into the office because, again, they're being more intentional with their work. It's going to increase this event effectiveness when you have that responsibility chart that everyone can tie into, and it's already become habitual for them because you've implemented this 6 months ago. At this point, you should be a pretty well-oiled machine. By 36 months, all the current agents should have promoted. They have a lot that are under 5 years. So by this point, they should have promoted and received tenure, and that's a really good pat on the back for your efforts in leadership. You will not be here in 36 months. So this office harmony should be able to continue through on to the next leader, and they can really appreciate your efforts. And your team is now a well-oiled machine. Someone can come right in and not only appreciate that effort, but admire and appreciate the team that you've created. So that's what your success should look like. Thanks for letting me evaluate your organization, and I hope these strategies work.